And if each Burning Witches member got one absolutely ridiculous superpower on stage, like summoning fireballs or teleporting, what would yours be?
Oh, oh, I would love to fly.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, would make it easy. So special effect with a broom,
Oh, of course.
flying on stage. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Should work that in somehow, right?
Yeah.
All right, hey, what's up? It's Ryan with Ethereal Metal here, and I'm standing in the flames today with Laura of Burning Witches. Their new album, Inquisition, drops this Friday, August 22nd. Promises to scorch everything in its path. Laura, thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
Yeah, thank you too.
So, how have you been?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's exciting, that the new album is now almost out. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
most definitely. That's awesome. Um, so before we start, I wanted to start with kind of two lighter, kind of fun questions. I've always wondered, Swiss chocolate is legendary, but you're Dutch. So do stroopwafels, which are absolutely amazing, by the way, ever sneak into the studio, or is it all chocolate?
Oh, yeah, usually I don't take too many, cookies and stuff with me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I have a habit of sometimes getting Lindt chocolate on the airports, the little ball.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Yeah, you have some shops with lots of different tastes, and I really like that. So sometimes I do that. I never really. One time I did take stroopwafels because I was going to just crash at a friend of the band's place, and
Yeah.
um, he indeed loves stroopwafels, so I took it one time for
Same.
him.
Yeah. That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
And if each Burning Witches member got one absolutely ridiculous superpower on stage, like summoning fireballs or teleporting, what would yours be?
Oh, oh, I would love to fly.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, would make it easy. So special effect with a broom,
Oh, of course.
flying on stage. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Should work that in somehow, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Cool. So yeah, jumping into Inquisition, which is coming out this Friday, so it's gonna be awesome. Inquisition carries kind of darker, heavier themes than your previous works. How did diving into stories about persecution and resistance affect you personally as you were recording the vocals?
Um, it is for me, it's really hard to imagine it actually happens, to be honest, because I didn't grow up with that kind of things happening.
Sure.
I didn't grow up with a war around me or other crazy stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I can imagine that with this kind of pressure, it's not even anymore about being good or bad. It's about, losing your soul or not losing your soul. Basically you're
Yeah. Yeah.
doomed for eternity, right? And to be honest, I did grow up Christian, which is still a little bit, like that. So if you don't believe or that Jesus would save you, you would also be doomed forever, right? So,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah, yeah.
but the pressure is not really there immediately because it's not like you have to immediately confess stuff and point to other people to save your life. You know what I mean? It's a bit
Yeah,
less
for sure.
pressure, to be honest.
Yeah. Cool.
Still, I mean, it's still pretty bad, but anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
cool. And so like while you're writing or like even shaping your vocal lines, how much do you let your own emotions guide the melodies versus kind of fitting them to the story Romana and the band are telling?
Um, well, it's usually a little bit of a puzzle. So I have a few. Of course, Inquisition has to be a song, right?
Of course. Yeah.
That one was the obvious one. And then we had a few subjects that we wanted to fit in. So I usually just brainstorm a bit for myself, and I have a whole list with a few that I really have to do. And then when a song comes in, I just check if one of those songs will fit. And then I'll just, it's always indeed um, what I hear in the music, the lyrics need to fit, right? At least,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. I mean, there's always some people that want to do stuff ironically or whatever. It doesn't have to fit, if you know what I mean. But usually, yeah, the emotions will fit. So I listen, and then I try to write the words into a melody that fits that. Or Romana sometimes has a really good line already, and then I have to puzzle the words into that line, you know.
Right into the line. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Cool.
whatever happens, yeah.
Yeah, nice. So this is the so obviously now you have Courtney on lead guitars. How has her style and presence influenced the way you approach phrasing, dynamics, and even harmonies in the studio?
Oh, I think it felt pretty natural, as in I don't think things change too much.
Right.
She has her own playing style, and I really love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and also a little bit different sound. So if you already listen to us, you probably notice the difference a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think yeah, that's it.
Yeah, my first introduction to her guitar playing was actually I saw her live with the Iron Maidens a couple of years back.
Nice.
So yeah, so once I started hearing her guitars on Burning Witches as well, it was very evident right away. So songs like Soul Eater and Burn in Hell are visceral and aggressive, while Release Me is kind of hauntingly melodic. How do you mentally shift between these extremes as a vocalist without losing authenticity?
Yeah, I do love a lot of, I love to try different things. And I
Yeah,
think a ballad is kind of like the song that you're allowed to do something a bit more mellow.
yeah,
Even,
absolutely. Got to do it. Yeah,
yeah, so even if you're in a metal band, and there's still a little bit of rawness in the voice, I guess. The style is not entirely different,
mm,
but yeah, but it's like you would play one of her songs acoustic almost, you know what I mean? So it's
yeah, yeah,
yeah, so I mean, okay, and it's a ballad. Yeah, we love ballads. We just have to do it. So it's a bit different, but also it's kind of like a little rest moment on the album, I think so.
yeah. And then sometimes, even though it's a ballad, people think, "Oh no, it's going to be soft. It's going to be soft." But sometimes there's even deeper emotion in those soft moments as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. So there's a ritualistic, almost kind of cinematic feel to tracks like High Priestess of the Night. Do you find yourself inhabiting a character when you sing, or is it more about channeling raw energy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was indeed kind of, yeah, almost coming up with my own character for this song because I just have a lot of, if you do like if you write down your thoughts about one subject, you sometimes connect things together, like, right? So I was thinking,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I want to have a witch in the sky. Okay, it's going to be Lilith. You know what I mean?
Lily, yeah.
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 And Lilith, in some series I watched, it's kind of like in some series I watched it was like a badass demon. In others it was Eve, it was another name for Eve, so the mother of all evil, basically.
Are you
Um,
talking about Supernatural by any chance?
I don't think it was that one, but it was definitely something with fantasy, occult, and etc. But not that
Okay.
one.
Yeah, because
No, so yeah.
yeah, no, the
Sorry.
same one is in Supernatural. They use Lilith as well.
Yeah, so they do
Yeah.
that a lot. So I
Yeah.
also connected it together a bit and was like, yeah, no, for all I know, she's a witch, so let's
Right. Very cool.
yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So many fans talk about the emotional weight that you bring to Burning Witches. How do you tap into that vulnerability while still maintaining that commanding kind of witchy presence?
Sorry, vulnerability for what?
Yeah, so how do you tap into the vulnerability while still maintaining that kind of commanding witchy presence?
Ah, and then you mean for the ballad?
Yeah, well, not just the ballads, but overall, kind of like there's a vulnerability to the music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Help me out. Okay, let's just talk about the loudest song in that case. Ah, Soul Eater, maybe. No, yeah, okay, if you think about vulnerability, I guess I don't know. It's really Soul Eater, for example, is super angry, right? I think the
Yeah.
most angry
Yep,
song.
for sure.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's talking about being afraid of your soul to be lost forever. So it's a bit.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
in some ways it is vulnerable. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And in those moments, do you find it more difficult?
I don't really think about it that way. It's just that I guess the vulnerability comes from the fear emotion in that case, because
Yeah,
fear is a bit
yeah,
vulnerable. Yeah.
cool. Okay. So could you walk us through a particularly challenging vocal moment on Inquisition and how you overcame it in the studio?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's a tough question for me because I actually yeah, the hardest for me is the high notes. Well, to be happy with it, it's the hardest for me is High Priestess of the Night, the chorus. And I
Yeah.
think I can now sing it better than at the studio. But it
Okay.
always, yeah, but it always goes like this, you know, you have to finish too much at the last moments and then there's not much time left to practice and you already did a lot with your voice and then you have to do that song and your voice is already a bit tired, you know what I mean? So that's one of those songs I wish I could have done just a little bit better. Because I know I could do it a little bit more smooth, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
you know
Yeah.
it's not different than my usual singing style, but for the song, I was like, oh, I want a little bit, tiny bit more smooth. So anyway, that one was really difficult, yeah.
Okay. Cool, cool.
And then you just do what you can, you know, and you have to be you can I'm always really aware that I'm relaxed enough and I rather build it up a bit. So the first take is a bit less heavy than and then I can always give a bit more, but giving too much and then, you know, hurting yourself and
You
going
start
back a
hurting
bit
it.
less
Exactly.
is not good. So I always start easy, yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. And I wanted to chat about the collaborative process, working now obviously with Romana and Courtney contributing. Are there moments where you push each other in a creative space in unexpected ways?
Yeah, I mean definitely because you hear what someone else plays and because of that you get inspiration to do something next.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the studio, it's always also helpful that Pulver is hearing everything for the first, almost the first time. You know, he gets
Right,
it up
right.
front a bit, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
can say, okay, let's try some stuff. Yeah,
Cool,
yeah.
cool. And also the lyrics on the album and kind of imagery as well. They're really steeped in history and mysticism. How do you balance honoring these stories with keeping your own voice and perspective within the songs?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think it happens automatically, right? Because I
Yeah,
write all the lyrics, so it's kind of okay. You can you please write about these subjects, and then it's kind of my take on it to get, you know.
exactly. Right.
I usually I'm not I don't go to a library to find stuff, but I do Google to be honest. You know, I keep it easy, but
Yeah,
I
yeah, cool. Yep. And so also, taking a look at like the closing album, the closing track to the album, Malis Maga. Um,
Mm.
what do you want listeners to feel emotionally after that journey? And do you see it as a story arc or more as an energy release?
Yeah, I think an energy release. You know,
Yeah,
it's kind of a tradition by now. We have an intro and we have an outro, and I always love that because you get really into this creepy energy. You know, and
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
yeah, so I love that. Yeah.
very cool. And is there any specific emotion that you would hope fans feel from that?
Yeah, what I personally always loved about metal from the start, there's always a sense of danger, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, it's not completely right. And the thing is, yeah, sometimes in pop music, things are even feeling right a lot of times, even if
yep.
they're not. If you start to listen to the lyrics, you're like, what the fuck? You know, it's not okay.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
but with metal, there's a place for that stuff. I love that. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. It definitely opens that up for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of stepping back to the Dark Tower, how have you evolved as a singer and songwriter leading into the new album Inquisition? And what have you learned about pushing yourself emotionally in the studio?
Whew, well, you know, I guess because of the experience, you gotta get a bit more used to how things go. So you know, I guess there it's always is a lot of pressure because you know it's
Yeah,
stuff to be finished, and you better do it as fast as you can because it costs money, right? So
right, exactly.
so there's always a lot of pressure, and every year I'm a tiny bit faster. I'm not saying like put it's not a big difference, but to be honest, okay, every time a little bit faster. So you get more used to things, but you know, at the same time, I always try to be a better singer. You know what I mean? There's always things that
Yeah, sure.
could get improvement or more nuanced, and Yeah, I if you now compare the first album I did to the latest, there's a huge difference, but it goes
Absolutely.
gradually, right? So,
Yeah, for sure. Touring and live performance are such a huge part of Burning Witches. How does the energy of a live crowd influence the way you sing or interpret the songs on this album?
Hmm. Oh yeah, it helps a lot. So if there's an energetic crowd, it's just easier to give the energy too. And if I
Yeah,
don't feel it so much, I sometimes have to kind of tell myself, okay, and now you're going to just give more because the voice start needs the energy too because it's poor. You need
exactly.
a lot of energy for the high notes, for the distortion. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. Cool.
Yeah.
And my last question for you, beyond the technical and the musical,
Hmm.
can you tell us about the heart behind Inquisition for you personally? And if a listener only connected with one emotion from the album, what would you hope it is?
Sorry, the first part of the question was?
Yeah, so beyond the technical and the musical, what is the true heart of the album Inquisition for you personally?
Yeah, I think we had a cool, view on it also during the video clip, and I think this is true for, at least for people that don't really feel, this kind of crazy pressure that they must have felt during the Inquisition.
Yeah,
You can,
yeah,
I think most people these days, they, have voices in their head, as in,
right, right.
you're not happy with something and you don't feel like you're good enough or whatever, it can be anything that
Yeah,
you keep telling yourself, and this can give a lot of stress. And what I, for example, have is if I'm not doing anything, I feel stressed because I'm not doing anything, and if I'm doing stuff, I'm stressed because I need a break. You know what I mean?
because you need, yeah, because you need a break from doing too much. Yep.
Yeah. So it's always, it's really hard to be at peace, and I
Yeah.
think the not being at peace is probably what this album is a bit about. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then also, if a listener only connected with one emotion, what would you want it to be from the whole album?
Yeah, I think this chaos of not being feeling at peace, you know
Not
what I
feeling
mean?
at
I
peace,
think
right?
that's the biggest one. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Laura, thank you so much again for taking the time to chat about Inquisition. For those listening and watching, Inquisition is going to be out just 2 more days. This Friday, August 22nd, via Napalm. There's going to be a pre-order link in the video description below. Laura, thank you again so much.
You're welcome. Thank you too.